Okay, so today our goal is to create some asteroids. So at this point, we should have uh, a rocket that's moving around. I changed mine a little bit so that it's WASD instead of the arrows. And the reason for that is that I wanted to be able to switch between bullets. So hopefully by now you've got two different kinds of bullets. For me, I've got Z is this type of bullet. And if I hit X, I'm shooting apples. Okay, and I can shoot them faster than this one, right? That was part of how I wanted to play out. So my goal is that the apples naturally are less effective, and so I shoot them faster, but it's going to take like 3 bullets to shoot down an asteroid, 3 bullets to one. So that's just an idea, and then I'll have an even stronger one that you can choose later on yet. Anyways, we've got that working. I realized I didn't add something that changes this and makes this look so much cooler. So we're going to just take a second to make this rocket look a lot cooler. So let's go to the rocket code. And what we're going to do is make fire come out every time that our engines are on. Okay. And so every time our arrows are down, that's when we'll have the rocket look. So the way we're going to do that is if the W key is pressed, especially, that means up, then I want it to look like the burners are on. And that's a costume thing. So if we look at the costumes, like costume A is the same as costume E, it's just with fire. So we just got to switch A, right? So switch, if W key is pressed, we're going to change the Y speed and we're going to switch to rocket ship A. Look, and actually we want to do that for all of the arrows. I think that's how I want it to look. So I'm going to change it here, switch to rocket ship A, and drag that into all of the different ifs there. So if A, W, A, S, D, if any of those are pressed, I'm going to switch to A. And as soon as they're not pressed, then I want to switch back to E. I want to switch back to rocket ship E. And so that's after. Is that how I want to do it? Let's try. Let's see what this looks like. I actually am thinking this might not work. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. Yeah, it still doesn't work. Okay. What if I'm just going to try? What if I do this first in the beginning of forever? Sometimes order matters. Let's try one more time. There we go. That's simple. So it's not totally legit. We should have sideburners. We can make it look better, but anytime we're moving it, then all right. So it's pretty cool. It's not theoretical. If we're moving backwards, I'm facing up and I point down, my rocket will go on and I'll go backwards, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But all right, sweet. You can play around with that, but that's one way to do it. If I was going to spend a lot of time on this game, I would make side boosters so that when I pressed, no, that's not that easy. Whatever, it's all good. This is pretty good. Yeah, I think it looks a lot better now. Okay, what we want to focus on is get asteroids in. So let's create a new sprite. This is going to be asteroid sprite. So what we're going to do is search up asteroid. I don't think we got anything. Let's look for rock. Do this, rocks. So let's see what costumes we got. Oh, we just got one big rock. Okay. I'm gonna duplicate this because I think I want a smaller rock. And look at that, we got a smaller rock. And let's get that right in the middle. Okay, right there. And I'm gonna get this asteroid to be just a bigger rock. So we got the big rock and we got the small rock. Sweet. Big rock, small rock. I think that's all that we want. And so let's go to our code. And let's get these rocks to come in and move around. This is going to be so awesome. So let's get these big rocks. Costume. No, not costume. Let's go to events. When I receive, start game. When flag is clicked, we definitely want them to hide. Okay, but before we do that, let's decide what size we want. It's a pretty stinking big asteroid, and so let's think about this. We want, let's try 50%. Pretty good. And then if we switch to the other costume, that's awesome. Maybe a bit smaller. Let's do 40%. That's a nice small size, just a bit smaller than that. And the big size, pretty good. All right, I like it. And then let's hide it when flag is clicked. No asteroids. Okay, but obviously we want asteroids to come. And so we need there to be some asteroids created. So let's go to control, and throughout the entirety of the game, forever, we are going to create asteroids. And so it's going to be amazing how simple this is. All we have to do is, very much like bullets, create clones of myself for the whole time. And when I start as a clone, I need to show. So I'm going to go to look and show. So this is how we create lots of things. Okay. Now, if we run this game, receive start game, then you're going to see there's just an infinite number of these asteroids here. Problems already we can tell is that when bullets hit them, they don't go away, and there's a stinking lot of these. I think I froze my computer. Stop it. Oh wait, wow, I totally crashed it. There we go. Don't do that. This is a problem. So I anticipated it. I didn't think it was going to freeze. So anyways, we're back. uh, this is a problem. We can't just keep creating clones indefinitely and in the same spot. And so we need to move it around. So let's go to motion. And there's this awesome thing, go to random position. That's just too convenient, right? So we're going to go to random position. Oh, we could have, I forgot about this. Go to rocket ship. We could have used this with our lasers. Instead of doing the X and Y thing, we could have said go to rocket ship and then shoot. That would have been way nicer. Oh well, missed it. Okay, so the other thing is we want it not constant. So now it'll go in different positions. So I'll do this quick. Wow, very quickly, right? You're going to get destroyed. And so we need to wait. And so if we wait 1 second, there's one, there's another one. All right, this is better. But we don't want 1 second. We want it more random than that. And so why don't we just do in operators, we can do pick random. Let's go from like 0.5 to like 4 seconds. And let's just see what that looks like. There's one, there's another one. Oh, and that one came more quickly, right? What a fourth. Good. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. They're going to be getting destroyed, so it's all good. We can add a little more code to make them only show up on the outside, but that's actually pretty difficult. We want to do that yet, and I'll walk you through that, but I don't know if we'll do that right now. That might be a later tutorial. That's more to like really finalize the game, but right now we're just trying to get it going and get it functioning, because that's just basically controlling this section. Where are they going? It won't be random anymore, right? And so for now, we're going to go with random positioning. What do we need to happen? We need these clones not only to show, but to move, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to motion, and we need it to point in a random direction, and then to move. And we need that movement to continue to happen forever until it gets destroyed. Okay, um, and so we'll figure that out right away. And so let's get it to point in a random direction. How are we going to do that? We go to operators. Random is there's in operators as a pick random, same thing we used here. And the random direction needs to be from, well, let me show you something here. Let's go back to, I'm going here. You can just watch my screen here. Point in direction goes from 0 to positive 180, and then to negative 180. From that becomes negative 180 to 0. So 0 to negative 180 and 0 to positive 180 on that side. So we want to pick a direction that is between negative 180 and positive 180. Okay, and then we just want it to move. Okay, and forever move wherever it's moving. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, that was pretty cool. Let's see if there's another one that comes up here. Woo! Pretty cool. This is looking pretty slick. Now, are there problems? Yeah, but I'm going to add a little other thing here. let's also get these to turn because this is going to look amazing. Okay, 15 degrees or like 2 degrees at a time. Let's see what these look like. Oh, that's not at all what I was thinking. I want it to kind of like rotate on its axis while still moving straight. I don't think I can do that right now. Okay, we won't do that now. That would be cool, and there's definitely a way to do it, but then we can't use move. Let's use move for now. This is pretty good. Okay, now what we're going to do is next. This is way too fast, so let's go to 1. See what the next one looks like. Sweet. This is pretty slow, but it's okay. So now when it starts as a clone, it is going to move in a random direction. And you can see that every clone is moving in random directions, and that's fantastic. Now we somehow need to make it so that the way the game works is that it goes down here, it comes back up here, okay, until it's destroyed. So what we need to do is get it so that wherever it is, if it is down there, that it pops back up there. Um, and that's the same thing that we did with our laser. No, sorry, with our rocket ship, right? Where do we do that? Right here. Okay, if the absolute value of the x position is greater than 240, okay, then we've got to flip it to the other side. So I'm just going to take this. You don't have to duplicate it. You just drag it onto the rock and drop it. Then I'll put it back in my code where I had it so that I didn't change anything in the rocket ship. But now here in my rock, this just kind of set up here, right? And let's try to drag that into our clone. So when it starts as a clone, what it's going to do is it's going to move, and if its position is there, then it's going to flip over. So let's just see if this works. Just have to wait a little bit till we get one that goes to the edge. There, that one, and it pops up there. That's fantastic, right? And now these are floating around in space. This is great. All right. I would ideally like to get more random of the speeds, but that's okay for now. Like I said, we're just creating the base of the game, and we can make it better later on. So this is looking pretty good. What we need to do next is get it so that it will um, die when we shoot it, because now nothing happens when we hit it, right? Nothing. The bullet goes right through it, and well, maybe if I would have hit it. Well, okay, nothing's happening, but we're not dying either, but that's not a huge deal. So let's get them to be destroyed when they get hit by a bullet. Okay, so this is going to continue to happen forever. But what we need to do is make it so that it gets destroyed. So the way we're going to do that is we need to sense. So in sensing, there's this touching mouse pointer thing, but we want it to sense when it touches the laser or the apple, right? Because those are both of bullets. So it's nice that we have both bullets, because if it's touching laser or apple, then we want something to happen. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to if. So in control, there are if statements. And so in the forever, I forever want to be checking, because forever is the nice place where you will always see it as soon as it happens. It needs to be in a forever. So when I start as a clone, forever, I'm moving, checking. If I'm on the edge, I'll go to the other edge and keep moving. And if I'm touching a laser, okay, for me, those are one-shot kills. What do I want to do? I want to delete this clone, right? So that's over on the left side under control, delete the clone. That was awesome, right? Boom. That is not that hard. Now, a quick problem is that the laser goes right through the clone, and you might like that, but maybe I'll leave that for the laser right now, okay? If touching the laser, delete the clone. That's pretty simple. Now, I want to do the same thing with the apple, okay? If touching apple, so the same thing. If I'm touching a laser, I'm deleted. What if I'm touching apple? I also wanted to delete, but I wanted to delete after touching 3 apples, okay? And so what it's going to do is I need a variable for that. And so make a variable called apple hits. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is start of the game, I need to set it to 0. Okay, and when I'm touching an apple, I'm going to change apple hits by 1. Okay, and so we should be able to see this. Let's run this game. I'm going to switch to my apples. I'm going to fire apples right there. 5 hits. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. Okay, and so every time it's touching an apple, it goes up by 1. That's pretty sweet. So I can track that. The problem is I got to refresh every time, but that's okay. I'll show you how to do that. There's problems with this, but that's okay. We're going to then, so we're going to go to control. If the apple hits are 3 or greater, then that's when we're going to delete this clone. Okay, and that's also when I want to reset apple hits. Okay, so I'm going to go to bring apple hits in here and go to operators greater than. So if apple hits are greater than 2, okay, because 2 is not greater than 2. So if it's 3 or bigger, that's when that's when it should die. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this clone that's under control, delete this clone. So if I go to apples, 1, boom. But now I'm killing with 1 shot of an apple, and that's because you can see apple hits is bigger than 2. And so every time I use up my 3 hits, I need to reset apple hits to 0. Okay, so before I delete the clone, I'm going to set apple hits to 0, and we're going to see that this works. X, there we go. There. There. I needed 2 shots there. So there's one other problem here, and that problem is that every frame that the apple is touching the rock is when we go up by 1. So we need to also destroy the apple. And so in the apple's code, we're going to, when I start as a clone, if touching the edge, we're going to delete the clone. And there's one other thing that's going to delete the clone, and that is if touching the rock, then we're also going to control delete the clone. And so right away we're going to see this is going to look a lot better. Let's go to X, and let's shoot this rock. See how the apple just deletes. This is great, right? This looks really good. The apple doesn't go through anymore. The problem is it's deleting so fast, it's not getting hits. Okay, it's not actually hitting it. So what we're going to do is we have to wait a little bit. So this is kind of a little hack. I'm just going to wait a little bit for it to register a hit on the rock. Let's see if this works. Oh, it's the same problem. Let's wait even less time, 0.01 seconds. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is pretty sweet. So you can see that this is working. It takes a few hits to destroy the asteroids. Okay, so apples, pretty garbage compared to, right? Compared to this thing. All right, it's pretty sweet. So I had to wait a little bit here so that the rock had time to register, because what I was doing is I was deleting the clone before the rock even registered that it got hit. Okay, before it even recognized it was touching the apple, because it was busy doing these things and didn't see, oh, I was touching the apple. So one of them is always going to happen first. So I always make one of them wait just a little bit, very small amount of time for it to register the hit. All right. We've got these things being destroyed when they're moving around, they're being destroyed when we hit them. I can hide variables, hide apple hits. And the last thing that I wanted to do was, what if the rocket ship gets hit Should we even do that? What's my time at? No, I'm stopping.